Stafford's making these crazy arm angle throws, and that's just I hate it because they're my favorite team this year, the Rams. Like I love them all season. I've loved betting them. They're just my darling, but this is a fade week, and then we'll pick them up next week against the 49ers, but I have to fade them this week.
The only thing I would say about this, agree with all of this, is I feel like a lot of these numbers this year more than years past have been floating higher as we got closer to the game. And then they've been settling at 6 or 13. And then all of a sudden, come Sunday, the public comes piling in more than we've seen, and the number goes back up to 7.
Yeah, it's hit or miss, but I mean, a great example. Last week, I gave Carolina Simon Says at 5.5, and it closed at 3.5.
Yep.
So obviously, didn't matter. Landed on 3, but it's nice knowing they could have missed that 2 pointer and it didn't matter. Where it's like, well, it doesn't matter. We have the 5.5. We already have that built in. So,
Kind of a similar spot, too. Similar
yeah,
team, similar spot.
right. So, yeah, I do feel bad about it. Like that Tennessee one, like you brought up, I had a ton of money on the 2.5 and 2. Luckily, I did buy on the 3 and the 3.5, but it's like those are always tough when you get the bad number, like you said. So
Yeah.
this one, I can just see it coming down because the pros are gonna love this spot for the Giants. It's just um, sucks it already moved from 6.5 to 6, but I just want to grab it just in case it does dip down to 5.5.
San Francisco at Washington, Washington plus 13.5 right now, bet 365. Uh, Look, the 49ers still need to win out to keep the number one seed. We don't know who the QB will be for the Commanders yet. Ron Rivera hasn't announced it. Um, Normally, a huge road favorite, not a good spot for Kyle Shanahan. You have to wonder if things are different after losing at home the way they did. And you just have to wonder, is this Commanders team done with 2 games to go in the year and they know everything's going to change?
Yeah, I would say the biggest fear if you're a 49ers fan is your team has lost their swagger. Like you lost that we're untouchable, unbeatable.
Yeah.
That's a real confidence that team had. Now they feel human, and that's a scary thing where it's like they don't have 4 or 5 weeks to get it back, right? They got 2 weeks before the playoffs. Couldn't have picked a worse time for the 49ers to have that kind of game. Or it's a rallying point where it's like, all right, we got
What I need.
embarrassed. We know what our weaknesses are. They go out, they blow out this Washington team by 40. They go and dominate the Rams the following week, and it's like they're the 1 seed, and who cares about that Ravens game? They don't got to worry about them until the Super Bowl if they do see them. So, yeah, big game for the 49ers in the sense that I want to take Washington. This is such a bad
Yeah.
letdown game where it's like, you're right, Chad. The Washington team, though, the fear is like they know it's over. I mean, that they gave it all in that Jets game. They still fell short. Even with Brissett in that game, it's like, man, Washington is so bad. Like the 49ers matchup wise should dominate this team in every way. Like everything they do good, Washington is really bad at, especially defensively. Like they got nothing defensively that can stop anything the 49ers can do offensively. So, um, yeah, if we're going big dogs this week, there's other dogs I'd rather take than this one, right? So I'm happy to
Yeah.
pass on this one, but just be careful, people, if you're just blindly betting the 49ers here. It's like it's a little stinky of a number.
Yeah. I think it's actually the perfect contrast to the next game on the schedule, which is Arizona at Philly. Philly's a 10.5 point favorite, right? Philly won yesterday. Uh, but interestingly, at 8 a.m. this morning, the number was at 12. It's been bet down to 10.5. I, I like this morning when I was looking at my notes and putting together the script, I wanted to make Arizona my exact decision at plus 12 because the Eagles didn't look that good against the Giants. That fumble to start the second half, the turnover for a touchdown. Um, I feel like Arizona is undervalued after the Bears loss. And I do think just watching a lot of that game, Arizona will watch that game as players and think, oh my God, we had so many opportunities. And I think that the one thing they have to their advantage that probably didn't work against the Bears, that does work against the Eagles, is Trey McBride in there as a tight end is really starting to play well. And that's a pretty good way to attack the Eagles in the middle of their defense. And it's not a good way to attack the Bears. Um, so I can understand why the wise guys have been betting Arizona in this game.
Yeah,